This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October the 14th, in the year 2003, Steve Bartman made a fool of himself in the eyes of Cub fans by making a play on a foul ball. So, here's how it is. For context, we have to talk about the NLCS. The Chicago Cubs were long-suffering. They won the Central Division. It was a tight race to the butt end. They took on the Florida Marlins, who somehow sneaked into the wild card playoffs with a great September. Of course, they were helped out by the fact that MLB refused to allow Montreal, who they owned, to call up some players for the stretch drive. So anyway, the Cubs had a tough series against the Atlanta Braves, winning Game 5 in Atlanta to move on to win their first playoff series since 1945. Since 1908, I think, the World Series, because they lose the World Series. In the LCS era, they played in 84, but choked to the Padres, a 2-0 lead. 89, they got crushed by the Giants. And 98, they went out in the first round. So anyway, the Cubs were finally making a playoff thing. Yeah. So, of course. And then the Marlins somehow shocked the San Francisco Giants. Game 1 of the LCS saw the Cubs and Marlins play a tough series. 7 home runs were hit. Florida had Pudge Rodriguez, Miguel Cabrera, Juan Encarnacion, and Mike Lowe go deep. Cubs had Moises Alou, Alex Gonzalez. Yes, the Blue Jays, Alex Gonzalez. And Sammy Sosa go deep. So the Cubs had a 4-0 lead, but they choked that away. Mike Lowell hit a home run in the 11th off of Mark Guthrie, and Braden Looper got the save. Game 2 saw the Cubs crush Florida 12-3 as Mark Pryor easily took care of Brad Penny. In Game 3 in Florida, it went to extra innings again. The Cubs and Marlins were tied 4-4 going to the 11th inning when Doug Glenville hit a triple into the left field gap to score Kenny Lofton with the winning run, and Mike Remlinger got the save. In Game 4, the Cubs were up 8-3 beat the Marlins 8-3. They scored 4 in the first off of Dontrell Willis, who seemed to be human, all that. So the Cubs were looking for their first World Series trip in nearly 6 decades. They needed one more win, and they had 2 games at home if they couldn't do it in Game 5. So anyway, in Game 5, Josh Beckett went nuts, taking care of Carlos Zambrano and giving up only 2 measly hits. The Cubs may have lost Game 5 and a chance to win a trip to the World Series, but they still had a chance because Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood were scheduled for Games 6 and 7 respectively, so nothing to worry about. It was time for Game 6 and all that. Cubs struck first on Kenny Lofton's RBI single. No, Kenny Lofton singled and then scored on Sosa's double. In the 6th inning, Dontrell Willis walked Eric Karros with the bases loaded to score Sosa. Mark Grudzielanek would hit an RBI single to make it 3-0. After 7 innings, it looked pretty much like the Cubs were going to win this game. So Mark Pryor was looking good, giving up only 3 hits through 7 innings. The Cubs had the 3-0 lead and were 5 outs away. Luis Castillo was batting with 1 out, with 1 PR on second base. And then Bartman drifted one to left field as Tom Brenneman. Yes, I know I'm saying Tom Brenneman. I know he kind of got canceled because of his comments about Kansas City last year, but I'm saying it anyway. Again in the air, down the left field line, a little reaching in the stands, and couldn't get it, and he slipped it with a fan. Bartman was sitting in the front row of the left field corner wall, behind the bullpen, when a pop foul drifted towards the seat. Moises Alou approached the wall, jumped, and reached for the ball. Bartman attempted to catch the ball, failed to secure it, and kind of deflected away from Alou's glove. Alou was upset that he could have caught it. The Cubs argued for fan interference, but the ball had broken the plane of the wall separating fair from foul, so if it could have been an out anyway. And Dusty Baker couldn't see the ball. Dusty Baker could not see the ball because the curvature of the Cubs' dugout blocked his view. So anyway, Bartman botched it. Now, people forget that Bartman was not the first guy to catch the ball, and he wasn't the closest to the ball. I think there were a few other catchers. So a fireman said he almost got it. But anyway, unfortunately, though, it started a chain of events. The Marlins would score 8 runs in that 8th inning. Castillo walked. But unfortunately, ball 4 was a wild pitch, which meant that Juan Pierre advanced to third base. Pudge Rodriguez singled to make it 3-1. Miguel Cabrera hit a ground ball to Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez. That should have been a double play ball, or at worst, just 1 out. Unfortunately, Gonzalez booted it for some strange reason. But everyone was safe. The bases were loaded. Derek Lee doubled to score 2 to tie the game. Kyle Farnsworth was put in relief. He decided to walk Mike Lowell, and he gave up a sac fly to Jeff Conine. Florida's up 4-3, but the Cubs can still get it. And all that. Because all the Cubs needed to do was get 1 out. They're down by 1. No big deal. However, the Cubs would intentionally walk Tom Hollinsworth to get to Mike Mordecai, who wasn't much of a hitter. And all that. It seemed like a smart move. Unfortunately, Mike Mordecai had a bases clearing double to make it 7-3, and then hell broke loose in the stands, and Bartman was escorted for a safety. Mike Remlinger came on, and Pierre singled, and then Castillo popped out to second. So the Marlins sent 12 batters to the plate and scored 8 runs. Florida won 8-3. Game 7 saw the Cubs actually take a 5-3 lead, but choke it away in a 9-6 Marlins win that sent them to the World Series for the 7th time in their existence. So, of course, there was a lot of problems. For Bartman, things looked bad. He remained seated as Fox repeatedly broadcast live shots of him between multiple replays of the foul ball. The somber image of Bartman wearing Cubs baseball cap, glasses, headset, and green turtleneck shirt became memorable. Because there were no replay boards at Wrigley at the time, Bartman was actually not recognized until many of his attendees' friends and family members who were watching the game on TV called them on cell phones, informing them of Bartman and his appearance. They started shouting asshole to Bartman after Castillo's at bat. Bartman was led away from park under security escort for his own safety. Anyway, it wasn't good about that. However, minutes after the game ended, Major League Baseball's online message boards were flooded with Bartman's name and personal information. As many as 6 police cars gathered outside his home in Northbrook, Illinois, to protect Bartman and his family following the incident. Afterwards, the governor, Rod Blagojevich, said that Bartman should join the Witness Protection Program. And basically, the Illinois governor also said, if he gets a pardon, you'll never get a pardon from this governor. What a dickwad. And what happened to Governor Blaze, as he was probably called? He was in jail for a long time, and he couldn't have the expensive hair dye and all that. So, who's in jail now, bitch? But Florida Governor Jeb Bush actually offered Bartman asylum. That looked good. After the incident, Bartman released a statement saying he was sorry and said that he had his eyes glued on the approaching ball the entire time. I was so caught up with the moment, I didn't see much Moises Alou. Trying to maintain a low profile, he declined a lot of things, and the family had to change their phone number to avoid harassing phone calls. He actually said that any gifts given him by Marlins fans be donated to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Of course, also, ESPN thought they had an interview with Steve Bartman, but no, it was, what is that guy? Gary Dell'Abate or something? Baba Booey, who managed to get in and said something about Harrowster and stick cheese. We've been hacked, said ESPN. So anyway, fans associated the Bartman incident with the curse of the Billy Goat because of what happened with the Cubs in the 45 World Series after Billy Sayanis, a tavern owner, and his pet goat were given tickets to a World Series game at Wrigley Field, and then when they got ejected, he put a curse on the team. They also compared Steve Bartman to the black cat that ran across Shea Stadium near on-deck Ron Santo. The Cubs were in first place, but fell flat. A lot of people also said that Bernie Mac, who strangely was a fan of the crosstown rival White Sox, sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" for the 7th-inning stretch, but then he called the Cubs champs. All that. And Tom Brenneman, after a commercial break after the Marlins tied the game, said, "It's safe to say that every Cubs fan has to be wondering right now, is the curse of the Billy Goat alive and well?" Could have been. A Chicago lawyer actually snatched up the baseball, and someone purchased it for over $113,000 on behalf of Harry Carey's restaurant. It was detonated by a special effects expert. In 2005, the remains of the ball were used by the restaurant in a pasta sauce, but no part of the ball itself was in the sauce. The ball was boiled and the steam captured, distilled, and added to the final concoction. How could you tell? But anyway, the remains of the ball is at the Chicago Sports Museum. The Bartman seat is an attraction at Wrigley Field. Aisle 4, row 8, seat 113. A seat number was changed after reconfiguration. Anyway, Moises Alou in 2008 said that, the funny thing is, I wouldn't have caught it anyway. But Alou disputed that story. If I said that, I was probably trying to make Bartman feel better. Alou did say it's time to forgive the guy and move on. There were a lot of people who were coming to the aid of Bartman, though, too. Mark Pryor said that I hung a curveball to Alex Rodriguez for a single. Alex Gonzalez should have did the play at shortstop, but the ball came up on him. Things just snowballed. Everybody in the clubhouse knows that wasn't why we lost the game. Bud Selig actually came to Bartman's defense. All that. So anyway, yeah. It was pathetic and all that. So Steve Bartman was really hurting and all that. The Bartman incident was even portrayed in a few animated shows. Like when Family Guy did the 3 separate episodes of Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story, Stewie was trying to fake being nice, but then he finally snaps after Brian killed his pet spiders. And then Brian says, "Ha, I knew you didn't change." Okay, so I was faking being nice. It was not the worst thing I ever did. And then we see a game at Wrigley Field, and then he tells this Steve Bartman lookalike thing, "Catch it, Steve. It's a foul. I don't want to get in the way. It's a foul ball. What harm can it do?" And he catches the ball over Moises Alou's grasp. So anyway, and The Simpsons. Remember that episode that Bart got shunned by the whole town for botching a baseball game and losing the tournament, the title for Springfield? When in fact Bart should have just, where was his teammate helping him retrieve the ball and throw it in? The damage could have been limited. Of course, then they come up with the idea to make Bart make the final out. However, Bart manages not to get the final out after so many times. He makes a couple of botched plays. One time the ball gets struck by lightning. The ball hits a bird, and Bart catches it tries to find it to the foul line, but Homer in headphones manages to catch the foul ball, forgetting it was for Bart. Bart still catches the ball after 6 hours. What the fuck? So Bart was terrible at in the first place. So anyway, Steve Bartman was a bad sign for Cubs fans. However, the Cubs did win the World Series in 2016. Bartman did get renewed media attention as the Cubs progressed through the playoffs in 2016. The Cubs had a 3-2 series lead in Game 6 in the NLCS. Fortunately, though, the Cubs did not botch it this time, holding the Dodgers really badly. And the Cubs got the World Series. To the World Series. Cubs fans petitioned for Bartman to throw out the first pitch. However, Bartman's spokesman said that he didn't want to be in the spotlight, and he wouldn't throw a first pitch. Thankfully, though, the Cubs did win the World Series, and that will be a future on this day thing. But anyway, the spokesman said Bartman's overjoyed that the Cubs won, as all Cubs fans are. And Bartman didn't want to be a distraction and all that. But Cubs owner Tom Ricketts wanted to contact Bartman for closure at the right time. Bartman received a championship ring from the owner, July 31st, 2017. Bartman did make a statement saying, quote, "Although I do not consider myself worthy of such an honor, I am deeply moved and grateful to receive an official 2016 championship ring. I am fully aware of the historical significance and appreciate the symbolism the ring represents on multiple levels. My family and I will cherish it for generations. Most meaningful is the genuine outreach from the Ricketts family on behalf of the Cubs organization and fans, signifying to me that I'm welcome back into the Cubs family and have their support going forward. I am relieved and hopeful that the saga of the 2003 foul ball incident surrounding my family and me is finally over." I think so. I think so too. I mean, I just wonder what his personal life is like. Did he still have his job and all that? I bet he did. I hope everyone has his back. I hope everyone has his back, no matter what you think. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.